What up, what up? Welcome to Mr. Brown's class where there's no whining and no complaining. Today we're looking at simplifying rational expressions. All right, when we're talking about rational expressions, all right, they're fractions with a variable in the denominator. All right, so all of these have a variable somewhere in the denominator on the bottom side. Now, if you put in your calculator any number divided by 0, right, you're going to get an error message, right? So you cannot divide anything by 0. So when we're talking about simplifying rational expressions, one of the things that we need to know is what the bottom, the denominator, the variable cannot equal to make the bottom 0. Okay? So one of the things that you always have to do when you're simplifying is find out what x cannot equal. Okay, now we look at this problem. All right, it's as simplified as it possibly can. You can't simplify, right? So these are being added together, right? You have two terms, you have one term here. So we can't reduce two things that are being added together when we have one thing being multiplied together down here. We'll show how you can reduce later, right? But what would make this bottom part 0? So 4 times what would give us 0? Well, 4 times 0. Okay, so x in this case cannot equal 0. All right, so you're going to have questions on the test and in the homework. What can x not equal? All right, in this case, x cannot equal 0. All right, so this one again, all right, is factored as far as it possibly can, all right? And so we need to know what on the bottom, all right, would make this 0, all right? So what minus 4 would give us 0? Well, 4 minus 4 would be 0. So x cannot equal 4, right? Because not 0 in this case, because 0 minus 4 would be negative 4. Right? And we can have negative 4 on the bottom. We just can't have 4 minus 4, which would be 0. Right? Now this one's a little bit trickier. Right? So we put it like this. 3x plus 21, right, cannot equal 0. All right? And we're going to just solve for x. Right? So we subtract 21. Right? So negative 21. 3x, divide by 3, x equals negative 7, or can't equal negative 7. Because negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. Negative 21 plus 21 is 0. So it wouldn't be 7 because 7 times 3 is 21. 21 plus 21 is 42. All right? And again, we could simplify this and see if we could reduce, all right, by factoring this down here. Okay, this is already factored up top. So let's factor this. What can we pull out of both of these? Well, we can pull out a 3. And we're going to be left with x plus 7. So now, you don't have a 3 up top. Well, you do, but it's in one of the terms here. All right? So we can't cancel out these 3's because this is in parentheses here, all right? And we can only cancel out things that when they're being multiplied together. So if we had an x plus 5, we could cancel out these, all right? Or if we had an x minus 3, we could cancel out this. If we had a 3 over here, let's say that we just had a 3 over here, that could cancel out, all right? But we can't do anything with this, right? So we just leave that like this, okay? Now, let's look at ones that we could try to simplify. Now, again, the first thing we want to do is find out what x cannot equal. So 4 plus what would give us 0? Good, x cannot equal negative 4, right? Because it wouldn't be 4, because 4 plus 4 would be 8. Okay, 4 plus a negative 4. Now, what can we factor out of the top? Okay, we can factor out a 9. All right, and we would be left with 6x plus 1. All right, now, again, just like over here, we have nothing to reduce here. All right, so 9, there's not like a parentheses and like a 9 here. This doesn't match up with this. These two have to be exactly the same. You'll see in a minute. Okay, so again, we can't factor or simplify this any further. All right, now this one's a little bit trickier. All right, we will be able to factor this one, but see how it's squared here, x squared? That means that we're going to have more than one thing that cannot equal 0. Okay, so in this case, let's factor first. Okay, whenever you have something squared, let's factor first to find out what x cannot equal. All right, so let's look at the top. All right, so we could factor out a 2x. All right, the greatest common factor of both of these is 2x. So if we divide 2x squared by 2x, we get x. All right, we divide 10x by 2x, we get 5. All right, now on the bottom, we can factor out a 2x again. All right, 2x is the greatest common factor of both of these. So 4x squared minus, or divided by 2x is going to be 2x plus, we divide that by that, we get 3. All right, now we can figure out what x cannot be. All right, so when you see we have two things being multiplied together, we have this times all of this. So what would make this 0? All right, 0. 2 times 0 is 0, and then anything times whatever this is going to be, all right, is going to be 0. So x cannot be 0. Okay, now, here's a tricky part. Okay, it's kind of just like this down here. All right, so we're going to write 2x plus 3 cannot equal 0. We're going to subtract 3. All right, so we have 2x minus 3, divide by 2. So x cannot equal negative 3 halves, because that would make this 0, all right, which would times whatever is here, and that would end up being 0 also. Okay, now we can cancel out, because this 2x can cancel out that 2x, because they're just one term being multiplied towards something. And we can't cancel out anything here because they're not exactly the same. All right, so your answer would be x minus 5 over 2x plus 3. And x cannot equal 0, and x cannot equal 3 halves. Okay, so on the bottom here, we do not have x squared on this one. So we can go ahead and right now figure out what x cannot equal. All right, so we have 4x minus 28 cannot equal 0. And some of you could probably already see what x cannot equal. So we add 28. 4x equals 28. Divide by 4. And x cannot equal 7. Right? Because 7 times 4 is 28. Minus 28 is 0. Okay, so x cannot equal that. All right, now let's factor both the top and bottom. What can we factor out of the top? We can factor out a 2x. All right, so 2x squared divided by 2x would just give us an x. 14x divided by 2x would just be a 7. Right, on the bottom, what can we cancel out? Our greatest common factor would just be 4. 4 goes in the 4 and 28. And then, so 4x divided by 4 is x, minus 28 divided by 4 is 7. Now look, we can cancel out this and this because they're exactly the same. All right, so then we're left with 2x over 4, and we can reduce this because they're both one terms. Okay, that becomes a 1, that becomes a 2, so you end up with just being x over 2, with x cannot equaling 7. And that would be your answer. Okay, so we can reduce when it's just one term like this. Okay, no adding or subtracting. All right, and we can reduce when both of these in parentheses terms are exactly the same. If you like this video, make sure that you subscribe and like below, and remember to be more awesome.